Good afternoon, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for coming back. Today is December the 11th, 2023. I have some news to share with you. I will start with breaking news coming out of Ethiopia. So recently, as you might follow the news, Minister of Peace Taye Danda was very open in criticizing the Prime Minister of Ethiopia Abiy Ahmed policies and his gambling with human lives in creating all this bloodshed and criticizing him for for the failure of uh, peace talks, especially in Tanzania between OLA, Oromo Liberation Army, and the government, and for blaming him for all this catastrophic situation in Oromia, especially. And so now, uh, Prime Minister took a revenge against uh, this outspoken person, uh, Minister of Peace, Mr. Taye Denda. So this is confirmed by Addis Standard and by other medias. So let's see. Let's listen to what he was, talking in the interview with BBC Afan Oromo a little bit, and you know who is Taye Danda. Then I will read the removal letter written by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed office. Just very short two statement. That's it. This is a sign of dictatorship. There is no board member. It's nothing. Just the Prime Minister. If he like you or if he dislike you, he just do whatever he wanna do. If you wanna wage a war, he's the one responsible to carry out. So no consultation, no discussion. So this is a sign of dictatorship growing in Addis Ababa. So it's a very challenging situation. Let's listen to a little bit, then I'll read a statement from Addis Standard on this one, and also a response from Taye Danda for this removal. Thank you again for coming back.
Waraana keessa maaltu jiraachuu akka danda'u immoo namoonni beekaa jechuudha. Namni nagaa bahee galuu hin danda'u mirga wanni jedhan hin jiru. Ammoo gamaa gamana wal ajjeesus obboleeyyanuma. Obboleeyyan kaleessa wajjin qabsoo godhee jijjiirama fidee torra immoo wal ajjeesu jira. Uummanni keenya waggaa shaniif du'aa ture haga meeqa akka du'e lakkoofsaan meeqa akka du'e illee lakkoofnee harkaan qabnu jechuudha. Oromiyaa keessatti waan bara kamuu ta'ee hin beeknetu amma ta'uu jira jechuudha. Akka bakka bu'aa uummataa tokkotti baay'ee nama dhukkubsa. Madaan isaa baay'ee gaffa godha.
Mariin mootummaa Itoophiyaa fi waraana bilisummaa Oromoo gidduutti Tanzaaniyaatti marsaa jalqabaallee marsaa lammaffaallee tureera. Maaliif hin hirmaanne ministeera nagaan ilaallatu ture dhimmi kun?
Dhimma nageenyaa seerri nuuf kenne labsiin lakkoofsi 1263 muraa 2014 dhimmi nageenyaa imaammanni isaa maal isaa nu laallata jechuudha. Haa ta'u immoo namni hirmaate ministeera haqaati. Ministeera haqaa mariin nageenyaa hin laallata ka jedhu hin qabu. Maal jennaan yoo amma abbaan tokko waan irratti waliigalee kana boru dide namni silaa dubbii kana seeraan laalu ministeeruma haqaati. Ofii dhattee marii nagaa gootee teechee deebitee immoo boru akkamitti ija seeratiin abbaa balleessee himachuu dandeenya. Hirmaannaa kana silaa nutu dhaquu qaba. Ministeera nageenyaatti nuyi kan Piriitooriyaas hin dhandhe kan Daree Salaamis hin dhandhe quban qabnu hin dhageenye kana eenyutu godhaa maaliif akka godhu hin beeknu jechuudha. Kun sirriidhaas jennee immoo naman.
Mariin kun marsaa lama taa'amee marsaa lamaanuu bu'aa hagas mara waliigalteerra gahamee hin jiru. Mariin kun akka waliigalteerra hin geenyee fi maaltu sababa ta'e jettu isin rakkoon isaa maali jettanii ibsitu?
Dubbiin kun bakka hin taane nun baasu karaa nagaa fixannuu jedhamee erga daandiin jalqabame booda akka wanni kun gufatu ka godhe mootummaa dheeree mana jechuudha. mootummaan keessa jiru kana. Sababni isaa immoo sababa lama. Tokkoffaa mootummaan an keessa jiru kun ani mataan kee jaallan keenya ka biraa wajjin rakkoo keessa jirraa teenyee mari'annee furmaata goona jedhee anuu namni wajjin jiru irra deddeebiin kadhannaan mariidhaaf banaa miti manni. Marii qajeeltoo irratti hundaa'e waan rakkoo hiiku ka dhugaa irratti hundaa'e waan akkanaa kana gochuun hin barbaadamu. Nama waliin dhaanii gogowwomsaniituma darbuutu barbaadama. Tokko amala kana qabu mootummaan kiyya kun. Lammaffaa immoo namichi amma marroo waraana gaara jiru warra waboo hoogganu kuni qilleensa mootummaan to'atu keessatti bakka dubbiin kun haa dhumu yoo mootummaan illee na dha'e haa du'u jedhee riiskii fudhatetti gaara keessaa bahee xayyaaraan Tanzaaniyaa deeme. Kun kutannoo agarsiisaa natti. Haa ta'u garuu bariitu mariin Tanzaaniyaatti eegalame jedhamee garana olola toofamuu eegale jechuudha. Shanee balleessinee jirraa, absaa jirraa haa jedhu ololli eegale. Ololli eegaluu qofa odoo hin ta'in waraanni bakka jiru hunda waan dur hin jirretu kanaa deebi'ee waraana waggaa 5 hin dhumin yeroo marii san keessatti fixuudhaaf dhamaatiin godhame jechuudha.
Kun gama tokko
kana yoo laalu ani mootummaan dubbichi akka mariidhaan dhumu waan barbaade natti hin fakkaatu. Walajjecha obboleeyyanii ka duraan ta'eefis ka ergasii as ta'aa jiruufis wanni natti akeeku numa bira rakkoon jiraa jedhee nama na jechuudha.
Akka qaama biyya bulchaa jirutti isin badii kana keessaa hagam.
The state is now handing out monthly health spending cards by the thousands. All Americans are qualified, but you don't have much time left. This week is your last chance to call in.
The U.S. is moving ahead with plans to...
Okay, so that is his interview with BBC Afan Oromo. You clearly, if you understand Afan Oromo, you clearly know why he was removed from his position. There's a big thing. He was exposing the Prime Minister and the prosperity officials, what they are doing in Ethiopia. He was saying there is no right in Oromia. There is no peace in Oromia. Brothers are killing brothers. And there is no way you can go out for work and come back home safely. And nobody knows how many people are dead in this conflict, especially in Oromia. So he's exposing this one. The other one is why the peace talk was, failed. He blamed the government. The government, he is part of it. He blamed for the failure of this, especially the second round, because the Prosperity Party, and the people working with the Prime Minister, they are not interested in settling this conflict through peace dialogue. There are no obstacles. He said there are no obstacles, and they just try to move forward by confusing and cheating the public. They don't want to bring this conflict to the end. And the other thing he said is the other reason for the failure of the war, the failure of the peace talk in Tanzania was the government was, using propaganda, mass media to, in a renewed form. That's OLA or Onekshane is over. Is everything is under control, and also engaged in a military conflict during peace talk, extended military conflict in Oromia everywhere to crush OLA forces and to force them surrender. So that's why the peace talk was failing. So this minister Minister of Peace of Ethiopia is exposed for this removal by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed for his outspoken position these days. He is part of the Prosperity Party. He is a part of the government, but he was, he understood. Okay, let's continue with the confirmation news from Addis Standard about the removal of Minister of Peace, Mr. Taye Danda. It says Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed sacked Taye Danda, State Minister of Peace, effective immediately in a letter issued on 11th December 2023, which means today. Immediately, even no time is given for him to clean up his office. The letter, which is posted on a verified Facebook page of Taye Danda, falls short of explaining the reason underlying the decision, but thanked the now ex-state minister for his contribution during his tenure since 08 October 2021. This comes in the backdrop of unprecedented recent media engagement and a social media post by Taye Danda, where he made stern remark criticizing the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed-led government. Yes. In a Facebook post on 6 December 2023 and a subsequent interview with BBC's Afan Oromo service, Taye blamed the government for the failure of Dar es Salaam peace talks between the Ethiopian government and the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA. In another Facebook post on Sunday, 10 December 2023, Taye criticized the government for disallowing a protest rally planned to be held in the capital, which led to the arrest of over 95 individuals. Reacting to the letter of his termination, Taye Danda described the Prime Minister as barbarian who plays with human blood. I repeat, barbarian who plays with human blood. That is how he described Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And we know when he came in 2018, he's a messiah, he's a different person. Now he's a barbarian who plays with human blood. Taye has been critical of his own government and the ruling party, particularly the administration of the Oromia regional state, from where he hails and was elected as a member of the Chaffe regional parliament. Credit Addis Standard. So I appreciate Addis Standard. It's the English news resource for me from Ethiopia. So that is about the removal of Taye Danda. And if you see, the letter is very, very short, just 2 pages. Not 2 pages, 2 or 3 lines for the, from the Prime Minister office. It says in Amharic, ከመስከረም 28 14 ዓመተ ምህረት ጀምሮ የሰላም ሚኒስትር ደስታ ዴታ ሆነው ስላበረከቱት አስተዋጽኦ እያመሰገንኩ ከታህሳስ 1 ቀን 2016 ዓመተ ምህረት ጀምሮ ከኃላፊነት የተነሱ መሆኑን እናስታውቃለን። አቢይ አህመድ ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር. Just 2 line of sentence. Just, and he just said, thank you for your service. And, effective immediately, you are forced to leave the Minister of Peace position starting today. And Taye Danda also put something on his Facebook, today, 3 hours ago, is in Amharic. Is just addressing to the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, and let me read. It's in Amharic, but I'll try to just roughly translate. ለክቡር ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትር አብይ የተናገሩትንና የጻፉትን የመደመር እሳቤ ሰምቼ ተከተልኩት። አሁን ግን በተናገሩት የማይኖሩ ብቻ ሳይሆን በሰው ደም የሚጫወቱ አረመኔ መሆኑን ተረድቻለሁ። Very strong word and very real when you see the situation in Ethiopia. እውነት መስሎኝ በሀገር ህልውና ስም ሲያካሂዱ የነበረውን ኢትዮጵያውያንን ከመገዳደል አልፎ ሀገሪቷን ያደቀቃትን ከንቱ ጦርነት ሳደምቅሎ በነበረበት ወቅት ሲያወድሱኝ ነበር። ዛሬ ግን ገብቶኝ የወንድማማቾች መገዳደል ይቆም ዘንድ ለሰላም በመወገኔ ከስልጣን አነሱኝ። ለወንበርና ለመኪና በመገዛት ኦሮሞን በኦሮሞ ለማጥፋትና ኦሮሞን ከወንድሞቹ ጋር ለማጣላት የሚጫወቱትን ቁማር እያየው ዝም በማለቴ እጅግ ደስተኛ ነኝ። ስለነበረኝ አጭር ቆይታ አመሰግናለሁ። እስካለው ድረስ ለሰላምና ለህዝቦች ወንድማማችነት የማደርገው ትግል ይቀጥላል። So that's in Amharic, and is appreciating in irony, but it's not real, for allowing you remaining in office with you while you are creating all this barbaric situation in Ethiopia among Oromos and Oromos with other brotherly nations. So he said he believed in prosperity party, a Madamar philosophy first, but now he regret for being part of that. This is a lot of blame for Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and how he's handling the government in Ethiopia. That's why concerned citizens media repeatedly call up for Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to resign, just like his predecessor, former Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn. He's an honest man. He's a decent man, even though he endorsed Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, but he said enough is enough. For the sake of the country, I resigned, he said at the time. So Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, to stop ongoing bloodshed in that country, please resign. Give way to others who might save this country. So this is from inside the Prosperity Party. This is a cabinet member exposing him what the Prime Minister is doing in that country. He just playing around, playing with the blood of Ethiopians, and creating all this civil war, and creating a dictatorial government in that country. You cannot say anything in that country. You cannot. He will be arrested. I'm afraid Taye Danda may be facing jail time. He could be assassinated by Abiy Ahmed undercover operatives. I'm afraid. So that's a very tough letter, and very brutal description of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. And the international community, the United States, is silent mostly, but they are advocating transitional justice and reconciliation. There is not a strong voice coming from the United States too. They are a little bit quiet. I don't know the reason. So let's continue with another video and then conclude today's presentation. So the first video is about the United States pouring weapons in the conflict in Middle East. Instead of calling for ceasefire, the United States is just keep providing weapons, money, and diplomatic support for Israel. And the days and the destruction continue in the Middle East. So it's very tough why Biden is engaged in this genocide, really, for the destruction of the entire Gaza city, and for the deaths and the displacement and the injuries on the defenseless Palestinian civilians. Let's continue listening to this video and other videos.
To get more weapons to Israel, CBS's Willie James Inman is in Washington with the latest. Willie, good evening.
Good evening, Adriana. The Biden administration is moving forward with a sale of $106 million worth of tank shells to Israel, bypassing a congressional review process as calls grow for a ceasefire. Chants of free Palestine could be heard outside a Biden campaign fundraiser last night in Santa Monica, which the president attended. The U.S. flexed its veto power over a UN Security Council resolution for an immediate ceasefire. The U.S. delegation said the resolution was divorced from reality and noted its lack of condemnation against Hamas's October attack. The UK abstained from the vote. The U.S. veto drew sharp criticism from allies and human rights groups, including Human Rights Watch, which said that the veto puts the U.S. at risk of being complicit of war crimes. Meanwhile, U.S. officials continue to stress for the protection of civilians in Gaza.
Willie James Inman, thank you.
Okay. Couple of more videos.
Israeli airstrikes are blamed for this. Major destruction in a residential neighborhood in a frontline village in Lebanon. Its biggest bombardment in the 10-week conflict along the border. Much of the area is empty, as tens of thousands of people have fled the daily exchanges between Hezbollah and the Israeli army, prompted by the war on Gaza.
Nobody, no international law, no local law,
have intensified.
no fear of U.S.
And the Lebanese
Russia,
armed group is
anything.
using more powerful weapons in its attacks on Israeli military outposts and soldiers.
When you
The United
control
Nations peacekeeping mission is
everything,
raising
when you
the
control
alarm.
the international politics,
As I said over the
international.
weekend, there has been a large number of shelling. Also, one of our base was hit, the watchtower in one of the Spanish compound. Likely no injuries, but of course, the longer this conflict continues, and there is an increase in the possibility of a wider conflict.
Despite the frequent exchanges, which have led to casualties on both sides, the violence is largely limited to the border area. But Israel is warning of a wider conflict if Hezbollah doesn't withdraw. In a show of force, Israeli warplanes fly over the Lebanese capital, Beirut. The Israeli military says if Hezbollah doesn't respond to diplomacy, it will have to impose a new reality to make Israelis feel safe to return to their homes in the north.
I don't think Israel is ready at the moment to confront a new front that can really expose its weaknesses and jeopardize the security of all the cities in Israel.
Hezbollah is a stronger force than Hamas in Gaza, but so far it has been calibrating attacks to prevent a full-blown conflict.
The United States and France are trying to avoid a military escalation, sending envoys to Beirut to try to reach a diplomatic solution. Early in the war, the U.S. sent military assets to the region to deter Iran and its ally Hezbollah from attacking Israel. But now many fear Israel may widen the confrontation. Israeli media are reporting a possible deadline to reach a settlement with Hezbollah.
There's a lot of uncertainty, but what is clear is that Hezbollah won't back down until Israel's war on Gaza ends. And all the while, tension is mounting on this front. Zana Khuday, Al Jazeera, Beirut.
Okay.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera. Karen
instructions for my Gatsby.
My gazpacho.
Mr. Henry Chicken.
Mr. Dirty Boy.
Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi casting his vote at a polling station in Cairo on Sunday. He, alongside 3 others, are contending in the North African nation's presidential election. The other candidates are all relatively unknowns among the public. Farid Zahran, leader of the left-leaning Egyptian Social Democratic Party, Abdel Sanad Yamema from the WAFD, a century-old but relatively marginal party, and Hezem Omar from the Republican People's Party. Some 67 million people are eligible to vote according to the National Election Authority. Sisi, a retired field marshal in the Egyptian army, came to power in 2013 after leading the overthrow of elected Islamist President Mohamed Morsi. In both the 2014 and 2018 elections, Sisi won with over 96% of the votes according to official results. If he wins a new 6-year term this time, his immediate priorities would be taming the near-record inflation, managing a chronic foreign currency shortage, and preventing a spillover from the Israel-Hamas war in Gaza. Voting will take place until Tuesday. Official results will be announced on December 18.
Okay, here we go. So this is another dictator in close to Ethiopia. Really a dictator who came to power through coup by killing so many Egyptians and arresting, mass arrests in Egypt. Now, the media claim that he won 90%. He will win now for the third round because he paralyzed most of the oppositions. These are maybe just, they are not tough challengers, He will win for sure because he cracked down all the oppositions. The Muslim Brotherhoods and the others, he killed as many as he could. He's a dictator. He will stay in power for many, many years. That's concerned citizens' prediction based on the reality. So I hope Biden will come to his mind and call for ceasefire instead of keep vetoing UN Security Council resolutions. I hope he will say enough is enough. End this bloodshed. Now Israel is trying to expand the same kind of operation to Lebanon. Yes, they could, but Hezbollah may be a little bit stronger. Still, they don't have defense system against all these planes flying over Lebanon. If you don't have something to protect from that kind of flying objects, even if you are stronger, you are nothing. You cannot defend your people and you cannot defend your country. So the United States, I hope they will stop sending billions and billions of dollars and weapons and also give diplomatic cover for this genocide against the Palestinian people. I hope they will stop it. I hope the voice for ceasefire still continue, as you saw in the demonstration against Biden. Silence, complete silence on this, 60 days military operation almost. It's, the destruction, the total destruction of a city. This is the challenge we are facing in this global community. Just continue your prayer for peaceful and the security of the global community, and for be the voice for the defenseless people, and be the voice for Ethiopia too. Ethiopia is in a very bad hand, in a very bloody hand, really, as Peace Minister Taye Danda described it. A brutal dictator in Ethiopia. Abiy Ahmed is a very brutal. He cannot tolerate even peaceful protest. He cannot tolerate talk of transitional government. He cannot tolerate transitional justice those international community calling for. Nothing can happen under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. He is a criminal. His team is also they are criminals. They face justice one day. We want to see in our lifetime, and whether in ICC or in Ethiopian court, one day, I hope to see. Too much bloodshed in that country, too much destruction, and Ethiopians, whether young or old, they don't have any hope. Many graduates of universities are just sitting, being dependent on their family in that country. Farmers cannot farm. Traders cannot trade. Too much trouble. No hope for that country. So let's just keep advocating for change in that country. That's all I have for today. Thank you for joining me. I will be back with other news updates next time. Be safe. So long, everyone.